he was a hard ass, like just like a pain in the ass. Like he was like the super strict, like he would like whip me and he would do all stuff like not like in a, it's just like not in a way that I would consider abuse. Right, but he was just a real tough as nails dude.
Wow.
And then when I heard that story, I went, oh, okay.
Explains a lot.
Explains a lot. And then I'm like, wow, like my whole life wouldn't exist without him on the side of that road in some way. Like, tell me, how does this work here?
Right.
Such a confusing country. It's like many countries in one, really. It's like, but it was amazing. It's the first time I like wore the keffiyeh and like really started to sort of feel outwardly Arab. I've always felt it inside, but growing up in Tennessee, you kind of keep it quiet a little bit.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I was like, this is who I am. It's the unconditional, right? And mostly this is family that you were born with, but it's also family you choose. Those people that just will never not walk next to you. No matter what is happening, no matter what kind of shithead you are, that's what it is to me. I mean, it's a question that I haven't had to really answer out loud, but in practice, my wife and I, with our kids, we're trying to sort of instill this sense of like, it's the architecture, it's the thing that just like it holds you in some way.
Welcome to Identified, where we explore, challenge, and redefine the traditional concepts of family and identity. In this episode, I'm joined by artist, musician, and journalist Jad Abumrad, creator of Radiolab and the acclaimed podcasts Dolly, Parton's America, More Perfect, and Fela Kuti, Fear No Man.
I knew my grandparents on both sides. I met my great grandmother in Lebanon. I probably had many interactions with her, but I only remember one.
As a kid, I assume.
Yeah. I remember she gave me a giant ring, and she gave it to me with a great sense of importance, like, I'm giving you this. And I promptly went swimming in the ocean. And I can remember the moment when I felt the ring slide off my finger into the murky depths. It's funny.
You knew it was important. Even
I knew it was important. Yeah. I mean, I just learned a story about my grandfather, which, I don't know, I think about the story a lot because I feel like it somehow, it says something about my family. Maybe about just being Lebanese, period, My grandfather on my dad's side, so his dad, when he was 10 years old, this was during the, I think it was World War I, so it was 1914-15. Wow. The whole country was blockaded on both sides. You had the Axis on one side and the Allies on the other. And they basically, the whole country was starving because no food could get in or out. And so basically his mom, so this would be my great-grandmother, they would sort of take things from their village, go trade it with one side, march 60 miles in the other direction, over a mountain and down, to trade it with the other side for grains and things, and then come back to their, and they did this every week. So they go back and forth every week. On one of these trips, my 10-year-old grandfather's mother, so his mom, had a heart attack and died right there on the side of the road. And he was 10, and he basically buried her on the side of the road and kept walking.
Yeah. And
he would later work 5 different jobs to put my dad through school and allow him to go to the American University of Beirut, which was the first person in their village of 5,000 people to ever do that. And then he met my mom, and they moved overseas, and nobody had ever done that. And it's some way, I kind of trace it back to that moment of if that's who you were or who you had to be on the side of the road, it changes everything. And then it ripples through the generations in some way. In terms of narratively, I go back to that moment, really.
Yeah, that's pretty intense. That's incredible to know that story.
Yeah, I just learned it maybe just a few months ago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Really? But you knew this grandfather.
I knew him.
Yeah.
He was a hard ass. Just like a pain in the ass. He was the super strict, he would whip me and he would do all this stuff not in a, it's just
not in a way that I would
consider abuse.
Right,
but he was just a real tough as nails dude.
Wow.
And then when I heard that story, I went, oh, okay.
Explains a lot.
Explains a lot. And then I'm like, wow, like my whole life wouldn't exist without him on the side of that road in some way.
Wow. And he moved straight to the U.S. from Lebanon?
So my dad moved to the U.S. We landed in Syracuse, which is where I was born.
Oh, okay.
I was born in Liverpool, Syracuse, which is why I'm such a big Liverpool fan. And then we went to Tennessee. So at age 5, we were in Tennessee, and I stayed there for 18 years.
Wow. And when you grew up with both parents?
Yeah.
And siblings?
No, just me.
Just you.
So my mother's brother had a son who was sort of like my brother. His dad died suddenly, and so we kind of adopted him. So he's kind of like my brother, except he's biologically my cousin.
Right, close in age?
Yeah.
Close enough that felt
10 years apart, but he's been with us since he was 6. So I kind of feel like I'm not an only child. You know?
And you grew up in one place?
Yeah, Tennessee. And now I work in Tennessee, so it's weird.
Right,
it's like now I'm revisiting
Yeah.
that, and it's just a different place.
Are you in the same place at all? Or?
Different neighborhood,
Right.
But Tennessee bears Nashville, no resemblance to where the place I grew up now.
Right.
Become like any place. It's like Brooklyn or something, you know?
What was it like there? I mean, did your family, to you, feel like a normal family as a kid? Did you feel different because you're sort of immigrant family, or for any other reason in Tennessee?
I guess every kid's family feels normal because it's all you know. And also, like, we were there at, like, 79 was the Iran hostage,
of course,
right?
Yeah.
83 was the first suicide bombing, modern, which happened in Lebanon. I remember everybody just looking at me like, oh, you're from that place.
Oh, wow.
Where people do crazy things. So I had a very keen awareness that we were from a place that was somehow not safe or not welcomed in some way.
Yeah.
It was never overt. I mean, there were times, like during 1979, people threw stuff through our window and that kind of stuff. But it wasn't like, I never felt that on a day-to-day basis. It was always just a sense of like, this is not our place.
Right.
You know?
That had to have felt personal. I mean, through the window was pretty...
Yeah, I was 6 at that time, so I don't like remember it too much.
Yeah.
But what I remember more than anything, I mean, it's funny with the Gaza situation right now, right? Like, I don't think people understand how much that conflict has defined what it means to be an Arab person in the world. It's defined everything about what it means to be an Arab person. I remember like 1982, like the invasion of Lebanon. Mm-hmm. It was just like, 80% of my friends were Jewish, and it was just like an issue.
Right.
You know, it was just an issue between us. So it's like people who've grown up with that, it's like we watch the TV now and we're just like, oh my God, it's just like every part of my adult life.
Right.
This has been there, you know?
Right. And 9/11 to a degree was a similar situation for tons of people.
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, I have an Arabic name, but have no connection other than that. But of course, flights and things got weird for me even during that. Yeah.
Wait, so your name was what's the lineage there?
It's Arabic. My mother found it in a book and loved it.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Cool.
Yeah. All right. I've got a black father from LA and a white Jewish mother from Long Island.
My feeling about the Arab world is like, come on in.
The Lebanese stuff is really interesting to me. I mean, did your family bring over sort of traditions, or did you celebrate Thanksgiving and Christmas and all these sort of very American-ish holidays, or what were the kind of rituals and the holidays in your family?
Okay, background. They brought a lot of Lebanese over, honestly.
Yeah.
I do remember landing in Tennessee, and we were the only ones. And then within 5 years, there was like, the place was lousy with Lebanese. It was just like 30 or 40 people my dad had, because the war was going nuts at that point.
Right.
So he was basically just getting people over one by one, like his whole side of the family, and then my mother's whole side of the family, and then doctors. There was like a ton of really talented people in Beirut who were suddenly had to leave. And so he was like bringing them over. So suddenly there were like 20 Lebanese doctors just convening and playing backgammon in our house all day long.
Right.
In terms of the traditions, also like that's a country that was basically torn apart by sectarian violence, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you had 18 different sects that were fighting literally block to block. And so when my parents left, they were just like, I don't want to even smell religion. My grandmother on my mother's side came to live with us. She's Maronite Catholic. She would pray to the TV every Sunday when it was like Mass was on. Mm. my parents would both be like, oh,
Wow.
like it was
Really just averse to it.
yeah. I mean, they were scientists and they were very allergic to all that stuff for good reason.
Yeah.
So, our sort of home life was, it was a strange kind of amalgam of, like, it was very, very non-religious. It's funny, my parents are not like sentimental people. I think when you have to pick up and leave right there, it's just like, okay, on to the next thing.
Just leave it all behind.
Leave it all behind. And so they were never like, like there were no pictures in our house of our past. I've had to sort of dig up all the pictures.
So like a new life.
It was really painful for them. I remember when Lebanon would come on the TV, I very vividly remember how they would watch the TV with a certain like look. That stuck with me. But yeah, it always felt like we had no past. That's kind of like we would speak the language and eat the food, and everyone around us was Lebanese, but somehow like there was no history attached to it. At least for me, as it was communicated to me.
Right.
And honestly, it was one of the reasons I became a journalist. Before I started working for Radiolab or any of that stuff, I was volunteering for WBAI here, and I started doing it because I was like, I really want to learn about my background.
Yeah.
So one of my first journalistic trips was like traveling up and down Lebanon and interviewing people.
Oh, incredible! And this is like early internet days, right? Is this like 90s?
Yeah.
Okay,
it's
so,
like
so
90.
Much harder time to learn anything.
Yeah, it was like, well, let's see. It was like 96. So it was like right as the internet was becoming.
Yeah, but definitely not the internet we know.
No.
Yeah.
It was before everything was saved on the internet. So I did a lot of these pieces, and I'm so thankful they've disappeared.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say you printed them out. That's how you preserved them. Yeah.
I have a whole radio career that no one's ever heard, and no one should hear.
Right.
Because it was all like right before the internet became the archive.
Yeah. That's amazing. So one of your first trips was to Lebanon that you obviously made a sort of personal.
Yeah, I remember we went to East Beirut and we interviewed members of Hezbollah. We went up into the north, down to the south. We interviewed all these politicians. I didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, my uncle had a lot of connections, and so he opened a lot of doors for me. But it was just my chance to be like, so, like, tell me, how does this work here?
Right.
Such a confusing country. It's like many countries in one, really. It's like, but it was amazing. It's the first time I like wore the keffiyeh and like really started to sort of feel outwardly Arab. I've always felt it inside, but growing up in Tennessee, you kind of keep it quiet a little bit.
Yeah.
But that was the first time I was like, this is who I am.
Wow. What did you actually find about your own family and your history?
On that trip, not a ton. It's funny, like one of the big revelations for me, like when I did the Dolly Parton project, which is now we're jumping forward to 2017. I did a 9-part series about her life in America as seen and heard through her career. But she was friends with my dad. That's the reason I was able to do that series.
That. Okay.
Really strange happenstance, kind of like friendship between them. I knew in the series I had to explain that friendship because he's not the kind of guy that hangs out with famous people, And so I sat down and did an interview with him, and it was a really interesting interview because he began to talk about how she and him both talk about growing up in a small like cabin at the top of a mountain. And they both kind of came down the mountain. So they had these similar journeys.
Right.
And it was in that interview that I learned so much about my dad and, just his life. I've yet to sort of do that process with my mom, and I want to understand sort of her background. But I really got a sense of like just the texture of his life growing up in this tiny village where they like literally made olive oil. Like that was sort of the village activity.
Right.
One big church, that they lived near. And all of the crazy happenstance that connected him to here, right, to that journey.
Right.
All of these things that just, like he told me stories of, being on buses and then getting off the bus and then walking 20 feet and the bus blew up. This was during the Civil War, so there was all this stuff. And that happened multiple times where he almost dodged.
Could have easily not existed.
And I'm like, I wouldn't have existed, right?
There's
all of these moments that he told me on. I was like, wow. Like our lives feel so inevitable until you hear these stories.
Right.
And you're like, oh my God, everything could have been so different.
Oh my God, that's crazy. Have you experienced much grief or loss in your family?
Mostly no, but we've had some. Yeah, I do feel very fortunate. I mean, I know my parents have, and they've protected me from that. A lot of that. The loss that sort of stays with, I think, all of us the most is that. So I mentioned that my cousin is sort of my brother, right? The reason for that is that his dad died very suddenly of an aneurysm when he was 30 something. And like that side of the family, but all sides of all families are just crazy, right? Families are filled with crazy people.
Yes.
But you always have like one or two people and you're like, that's the guy. That's like the unicorn, the beautiful soul he was that guy. He was just like this gentle poet, you know? And when that happened, it was just like it was like one of those atomic like bomb kind of moments. It just, it's almost like there are these moments where everything gets reshuffled. And that was a moment where, so if I think about loss in the family, it's that.
Yeah.
I know that if I go to my parents' level, that they probably have stories upon stories.
Drastically different lives.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's crazy that in so few generations, I mean, you can go from that side of the road story to hanging out here, talking into fancy microphones.
God, that if I think about that too long, it kind of fucks me up.
Me too.
It's like so nuts.
Yeah. Even, I mean, my grandparents, nothing like yours, you know, flying in the Air Force in World War II. Even that feels crazy to me.
Yeah.
That was 2 generations.
I mean, I think the distance that generation traveled is almost hard to fathom right now.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe our grandkids will say that about us, but I doubt it. I doubt it.
Then they can just read everything on, they can just look at the tweets. What is family to you?
I don't know. It's the unconditional, right? And mostly this is family that you were born with, but it's also family you choose. Those people that just and will never not walk next to you, no matter what is happening, no matter what kind of shithead you are, you know, that's what it is to me. I mean, it's a question that I haven't had to really answer out loud, but in practice, my wife and I, you know, with our kids, we're trying to sort of instill this sense of like, it's the architecture, it's the thing that just like it holds you in some way.
Thanks for tuning in. Please consider subscribing to Identified wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss an episode. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and all other major streaming platforms. And be sure to explore identifiedpod.com, the place to gain a better understanding of family. Our executive producer is Kiran Banerjee, and the show is produced by Palm Tree Island. The music for Identified is by Noella and Patricia Brennan. I'm Nabil Ayers. Thanks for tuning in.